Alarm bells are clanging over the city of churches. The Crows' own website describes this as their darkest hour. The Mail reckons it'll be easier to refloat the Titanic than for Adelaide, winless from 4 matches, to make the finals. So tonight, can Neil Craig raise the dead? His Crows have been sinful up forward, without a prayer in defence. And even their faithful are saying the coach needs a new hymn book.
I reckon it's our worst performance in a lot of areas. We just can't get competitive on the scoreboard. It's causing a lot of disappointment.
So now, Craig's Crows have come seeking redemption.
And the Crows, season in crisis.
But the Western Bulldogs are on a crusade of their own. Having been devoured by the Lions, they are here to snuff out the lights on Adelaide's dim finals hopes.
You betcha!
It's going to be a battle inside Etihad and an anxious night in the city of churches.
The Anzac weekend kicks off with Friday night footy at Etihad and the Crows backs to the wall. Couple of changes again tonight. They have struggled, no doubt about that. And Neil Craig joins me. Neil, thanks for your time. I mean, if you had to rally a bit this week, there's been a lot of criticism back home.
No, the guys have been good, Bruce. Yeah, there has been some criticism, but we'd like to think we can push forward from now on.
Ricky Henderson playing his first game. I know Deanne, his mother, presented him with a Guernsey. Yeah. How's he holding up, mate?
No, he's good. He's pretty excited. He's come a long way in a short period of time. So it'll be good to see him up forward tonight. He's got some real movement and speed, so I'm sure it's obviously a big night for him.
You've had a lot of players underdone this year. Now, Van Berlo's come back. Can he do a job for you tonight?
Yeah, well, he's going to play in the midfield, Bruce, so depending on what their setup is, you know, he could get a role on one of their midfielders, but he can also play back in defence as well, so it's good to have him back.
And Craig, last thing, what's the one area that you're really stressed for tonight?
We just need to be up on the speed of the game, Bruce. Play with plenty of speed and plenty of energy, and get our ball moving a bit crisper.
All the best.
Thanks, Bruce. Okay.
Terrific. Up to you, Dennis.
Good on you, Bruce. Out come the Bulldogs. Disappointing last week. They lost by 22 points to the Brisbane Lions. Brad Johnson back tonight, of course, having played in round 1. Lee Matthews is with me. A lot of talk about, and Tom Harley, sorry, Tom, but I'm going to Lee. Lee, a lot of talk about the Adelaide Crows, their sluggish start, but you've got to say the Western Bulldogs not exactly setting the world on fire.
Well, they've lost the 2 games. They've been against Collingwood and against the Lions at the Gabba, 2 probably top 4 contenders. So their form's been reasonable, but not fantastic, and they certainly need to win this game tonight to keep that sort of top 4, even premiership threat aspirant alive.
There's Jordan Roughhead. Obviously, Big Will has paid the price, Tom. You're on.
He certainly has. A great night for Jordan Roughhead playing his first game. Some big inclusions with Ackermanis and Brad Johnson to, I guess, bring that experience into the lineup. But for mine, the most important player at the Western Bulldogs is Brian Lake. He has been in absolutely outstanding form, averaging 20 disposals a game and conceded only the 2 goals for the season. And in that stretch, keeping Buddy Franklin goalless 2 weeks ago.
A damning stat. The Crows have kicked only 31 goals in 4 games, Lee.
Well, one of the things about the Crows, we thought Kurt Tippett would look like to be a young key power forward who just might be a really good quality player. Well, so far this year, he's only averaging a couple of shots a goal. He's kicked 1 goal late, so his inaccuracy, his goal-kicking confidence is down. But Brett Burton is the player they're going to all the time. Burton seems to be the target 28% of the time in a statistic sense, and Tippett only 8. So on that basis, Burton has to be getting his 4 or 5 goals, and that's not happening. So interesting to see how those 2 forwards are used tonight.
And Tom, 2 days early for veterans. We've got a few marching tonight.
Well, it's an amazing statistic, and I know you won for statistics, Dennis, but 6 of the 9 oldest players in the competition are actually running around tonight, and the inclusions of obviously Johnson and Ackermanis, and obviously Andrew McLeod and Simon Goodwin and Edwards for the Crows.
Brad Johnson, as I said, played in round 1, has missed the last 3 games, so obviously comes in a little underdone.
Well, he has missed a lot of training because he only barely got on the field in round 1, so he's obviously had a very soft preparation the last few months. And Jason Ackermanis only missed the 1 game with a bit of a hamstring scare against Hawthorn a couple of weeks ago, but he's so good with ball in hands that they always look more dangerous with him in a bit of time and space.
Of course, poor old Brad got run over. There's Barry Hall. Friday night football, the Western Bulldogs and the Adelaide Crows should be a beauty. Stick around. Tonight on the Halftime Show, Magpies skipper Nick Maxwell joins our panel of experts for an in-depth preview of the Anzac Day blockbuster between Collingwood and Essendon.
Ruby, Andrew's doing the toss. Your call.
Tail, is it?
Well, there you go. When you get a bit older, you find it hard to work out whether it's a head or a tail. But Jono wins the toss and kicks to the left of screen.
A bit of constipation.
As we go down and join Tim, a lot of questions to be answered about the Crows tonight, I reckon.
That's right, Macca, and when you're 0-4, there is a lot of soul-searching that goes on within the confines of a football club. We know that Neil Craig and the Adelaide Crows have been under the pump this week. I reckon there's one area, though, that they've been looking at really closely, and that's been their stoppage work, their inability to move the ball effectively around the ground from stoppages. It's a critical part of modern-day football. This season, they're ranked number 16 for generating scores from stoppages. In 4 rounds, they've been outscored by a whopping 81 points, and that's clearly the worst record in the AFL. Even when they do win the ball, they actually struggle from the stoppage to generate a score. Now, that puts enormous pressure on every other component of their game. The good news, I think, for the Crows tonight is that Matthew Boyd, the best inside midfielder for the Western Bulldogs, is not playing tonight. So that gives them a wonderful opportunity to actually generate some more play from around those stoppages. That's the area of their game that I'll be looking at closely tonight.
I saw Boyd coming up in the lift. He hasn't missed a game for about 5 years. He's a good out for the Crows, isn't he?
Good rivalry, this one, too. The Crows have won 15 of 32 against the Dogs. Their veterans under scrutiny. 4 changes for the Bulldogs coming in. Brodie Moles kept his place, as it turned out. Ryan Hargrave, a late withdrawal. Barry Hall, a star in the NAB Cup. No doubt will get Rutten, and that should be a very interesting duel as well.
I thought one of the damning stats about the Crows just is that they last on the tackle stats. They've been beaten in the tackle count all 4 games. I mean, really tackling and effort go hand in hand, and that certainly is one part of their game they're going to have to get right.
I think on that ladder, the Bulldogs are 14, so this is a sort of game